Unmuted. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cluster API Office Hours on June 7, 2023. This meeting follows the CNCF Code of Conduct. So that basically means be nice to each other. And let me post a link to the agenda in the chat. And if you want edit access to the agenda, please join the mailing list linked at the top of the doc, and you should be able to edit the document. Before we start our office hours, it's tradition around here for new folks to introduce themselves if they want. So if there are any new folks, feel free to raise hand. It's under reactions in Zoom. Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Hello. Nice to meet you. Actually, I think it's not my first meeting, but I'm not going here frequently. Currently, I work in New Relic, and we are experimenting with Cluster API. Not experimenting, we used in production a lot. And our plans are to automate installation and maintenance of Cluster API components. And therefore, I started contributing to Cluster API operator. We are going to discuss it today. Alex created several topics about that. Yeah, it's nice to be here with you. Yeah, thanks.
Welcome, and great to hear that. Is there anyone else? I don't see any new hands raised. Okay, then open proposal readouts. There is only one proposal about, I guess this is the managed Kubernetes proposal. Jack, is there any update on this?
Not a lot of change from last week. I think I've addressed all the open comments, so just waiting for responses from folks. Just the normal process is chugging along.
Okay. Thank you for that, Jack. Any questions, comments? I don't see any answers. Great. Moving on to the discussion topics. First one, release team. You have the first one.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. We have released CAPI 1.4.3 and 1.3.8 yesterday, and I've listed in the release notes in line to that statement over there. And we have CAPI 1.5 beta coming up on June 27th.
Awesome. Great job on the patch releases and waiting for the beta tag. Thank you, release team, for all the great work. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions on this? I don't see any hands raised. Okay, moving on to the next one. Cluster API operator, Alex.
Yeah, hey everyone. So this topic is by me, but I know there are also other folks who are interested in this. And if you feel like there is something you want to add, just feel free to do it. So on Monday, we had our first community call and wanted to give an update on what happened. And also we have a couple things I'd like to discuss today. So first of all, we released a new alpha release. We fixed a lot of bugs, did a lot of optimizations. So now it's in much better state than it was previously. And also we were discussing a couple interesting things during the call, and one of them was that David proposed, what if we use Helm to install KP providers using operator. So KP operator already supports Helm, so you can, there's a Helm chart for it, you can deploy it with Helm. And David said, what if we make some templates and you can pass some arguments to Helm, and it will also create some KP providers in a similar way, right? Like you can do right now with clusterctl. You can initialize a management cluster with a single command. So what if we can do the same with KP operator to have a relatively similar experience? And wanted to ask what people think about this.
Does anyone have any thoughts on this? I don't see any hands raised. Alex, is there like an issue? Is there a tracking issue where people can comment on if people who are interested in this did not join the meeting and so on, so they can take a look at the notes and go back?
I'll have to check if there is an issue. I'm not sure now.
Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Alex. So I noticed there that it's specified that this installs CAPI providers. Does this also install CAPI itself? Is this a way to create a management cluster from scratch?
Yeah, maybe I wasn't clear. I meant that it also installs KP and providers.
Cool. So one of the potential use cases is essentially a CRD that acts as a CAPI installer that you can Helm install onto a Kubernetes cluster to bootstrap. So it's essentially doing what clusterctl does.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds fun.
Fabrizio, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of questions. My camera doesn't work. I will try to fix it later. But so first of all, when we get to install provider, as of today, we rely on provider basically publishing some manifest and maintaining those manifests across the release. So that means that if you want I think that you don't want to maintain a chart for all the providers by yourself, but you expect that the provider publish Helm charts. Is that true?
So not exactly. Sorry if I wasn't clear. So KP provider, KP operator provides you a set of CRDs, like we call them just providers. There's core provider, infrastructure provider, bootstrap provider, similar to clusterctl. And you can apply the CRDs on your management cluster, and it will deploy KP or any KP provider. And what we wanted to do is for Helm chart to not just deploy KP operator, but also apply this CRs when you create the operator.
Okay, so basically you are saying when I install the operator, I'm going also to install providers in a single operation. Is that true?
Yes, but only if you pass some certain arguments to Helm.
Okay, and how are you planning to manage the list of known providers? And so let me say, I'm not opposed and trying to understand where you are going, because there is no documentation or design. An issue will definitely help.
So right now we rely on the same list as clusterctl. So the user experience will be the same. You will just pass the name of a provider you want to install, and it will do it.
Yeah, I think, let me say, at the end, the operator is looking forward to solve, to make it easier for CAPI to work with GitOps. So I think that this goes into to this direction. So I'm not opposed. It will be interesting to see a design.
And also, yeah, we need to create a list of providers we want to support this way, like Kappa, CapZ, I don't know what else, CapG, and so on. And technically, as I understand, we just want to prepare like a quick start solution that allows to deploy the whole infrastructure, copy all providers quite easily with one command. Maybe instead of Helm, we can just create a shell script for that. I don't know, just to install everything. Because besides, we also need to deploy cert manager, for instance. It's a requirement for operator to work. We can include it in this Helm chart as well. It's possible. But I don't want to make Helm chart like super complex that supports like almost everything. Maybe we can keep it a little bit more gradual. I don't know. But we definitely can try.
Are there any follow-up questions? Oh, I see Stefan has a question. Oh, not a question. In the comment, which is maybe it's an option to just consume some cert manager Helm chart as a dependency for the operator Helm chart.
Yeah.
Are there any follow-up questions, comments? Does anyone want to add anything? Fabrizio, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Stefan. Let me say, if we have to be declarative, everything should be declarative. So we should not have scripts or CLI. Otherwise, we kind of, yeah, we fall back in the same problem that we had with Cluster Cutter. Second, with regards to the point, adding operators alternative in Cluster Cutter in the docs. I would like to see a demo first, just to understand where we are, etc., etc. This will help me to understand how to judge. My only concern is I'm not against this. I'm happy to have to give more option to our user. I'm just a little bit concerned by the state of the book and the quick start specifically, which is already over complex and with 30 provider listed and stuff like that. So not opposed that we have just to find a smart way to do it.
David, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, it seems like there's openness. I'd be happy to help in terms of the doc design layout of what that could look like. I just think, Cecile brought up a while back about having a Helm chart for CAPI, and I think we should be having two different options here, and also we need to make it more discoverable. So I could help with that. But the other thing I was going to say is in terms of the argument of do we have each provider have their own Helm chart? I would be more of a fan of having the operator have the option to have the different providers have the Helm chart and having it built in, and then having the providers, infrastructure providers, contribute as desired to that location. I mean, the existing operator already supports all the existing, cluster CTL provider values, I think. So you have to go look that up to find out what's the value that you specify to get it installed. So it just makes sense to me to have something integrated. And of course, every provider is going to have something slightly different. So I think there's a way that you could have placeholders or other things there and allow people to contribute. So that way we don't have, 30 different Helm charts and things like that. So that's all.
Thanks for that, David. Does anyone have any questions, any follow-up items? Yeah, I added this issue that someone posted in the chat. Is this the right issue for people to follow up on if they want to discuss this further? I guess Alex or Mikhail. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Someone added this issue in the comments and I linked it in the doc. Is this the right issue if folks have follow-up questions on us? And go ahead. Okay, awesome.
That one.
Awesome, great. So if anyone has any follow-up questions or want to discuss this further, please go ahead and start probably discussing on the issue itself. I don't see any other hands raised. Fabrizio, you have the next one.
Yeah, so this is a follow-up of last week demo. So we merged the memory provider, the first, let me say, port of code from the repository where we were developing. We were prototyping this, we merged in CAPI. So the idea is that since this is a bunch of code, we are going to accept feedback and follow up in fixes, even if the fix is still merged. We opened an issue with the where we are tracking all the stuff that we still have to do. And I also proposed a doodle in order to have a session where I can basically make a code walkthrough for this provider and show everyone how we implemented it, if they are interested.
Awesome, great. So folks, whoever is interested, please respond to the doodle. Please take a look at the initial PR and let's find a time that works for most people. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? No, I don't see any hands raised. Moving on to provider updates. Kappa, Richard.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so we released version 2.1.4 today. It's got a couple of minor fixes in it. And also, if you did upgrade to 2.1.3, there is a fix in for the built binaries. Some people had problems on Alpine. So yeah, if you fall into that bucket, feel free to upgrade today. That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Richard. Congrats on the new release. IPAM in cluster.
Yes, that's me. Sorry, I forgot to add my name. Yeah, just wanted to drop a quick note that we've moved the in-cluster IPAM provider to Kubernetes 6 now. It lived at the Telecom org before, but now it's finally in Kubernetes 6.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacob, for that. Richard again.
Yeah, this is about a new provider, CapQuoc. I think it's quite a good name. But really, I was bored one day and I saw that Quoc wanted a CAPI provider for their project. So I did start to build it. But then someone reached out on Slack and said they were interested in building the provider for Quoc. So we sort of agreed that it could be used as a learning exercise and how to build an infrastructure provider. So really, it's just a shout out to people that are interested in building providers, but want a more guided or mentored approach. Feel free to help out on this project or ping me. Happy to guide people through. I know there's a couple of people that already want to do it more as a mentored approach. So yeah. Also, if you're just interested in Quoc, I'll just go check it out and have a play with it.
Yep, great. Also, I believe that you did a KubeCon talk on how to build new providers, right? So I think that talk is already linked in the CAPI book. So if folks are interested in how to start building a new CAPI provider, that's a great place to start looking at.
Yeah, that's right. This is in the same GitHub org as well as that walkthrough.
Awesome. That's it for provider updates. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, or does anyone want to add any topic last minute?
Just one quick question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So how does this the Quark basically as compared to the CubeMark provider?
I guess they accomplish, yeah, they accomplish pretty much the same thing. Yeah, one's using Quark, which is a project, an upstream project. It doesn't require a backend cluster either, so I guess that's one major difference. And as it says there, yeah.
I see. So CubeMark requires the backend, physical backend to be present, whereas here it's more of a virtual way to scale.
Yep.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, and you create nodes by just applying literally a node YAML.
I see. Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Any more questions? I don't see any hands raised, no new discussion topics or provider updates. We all get half an hour back. Thanks everyone for joining the meeting. See you all next week and have a great week.
See ya.